Conflict rages on in Syria, driving millions across the country's borders. Violence first broke out 4 years ago when pro-democracy protesters demanded the resignation of President Assad. The government dispatched armed forces, sparking another wave of violence, as opposition groups took up weapons in self-defense. As the fighting escalated further, the nation plunged into a bloody civil war. With no end in sight, refugees continued to flee in droves. Here, thousands, Syrians and others, make their way through Serbia to Hungary. UNHCR, the United Nations Refugee Agency, is there to assist, says Caroline van Buren, Deputy Regional Representative.
UNHCR, we brought in tents. We will put tents at all the collection points. We will give people water, something to eat, and a blanket. And then the police will take them to the registration center.
A Syrian Kurd, Lochman, is relieved. Now it's a waiting game for Lochman and other refugees like Abdullah, who linger patiently for buses to transport them to Western Europe.
We people that don't have family in here, we stay alone, no pay attention. It's 3 nights we stay here. All the time they say the bus is coming after 2 or 3 hours.
The buses finally arrived and the refugees began their journey. Some families have been travelling for 2 weeks through several countries, over land and water, sometimes on foot, paying as much as 3,000 to 4,000 euros per person. Arriving in Hungary and other European countries was their dream. But the refugees didn't expect what happened next. Leonard Doyle is spokesman for the International Organization for Migration, IOM.
The decisions made by various governments to put border controls in is going to have a very damaging effect.
Facing closed borders feels like shattered hopes for tired refugees who've made the perilous journey. Some lost their lives, others lost family members. There's no telling how far these refugees will need to travel before they reach a safe haven and a country willing to accept them. Melissa Fleming, spokesperson for UNHCR, is concerned that member states couldn't agree on a relocation policy to assist tens of thousands who have no place to go.
We are deeply disappointed that although a majority of the member states were in agreement with a wider relocation proposal involving 120,000 people, a final consensus on this could not be reached. What we're saying now is decisive agreement is needed, urgent agreement is needed without further delay to address the needs, as is bold action based on a system of solidarity from all member states.
Meanwhile, the tragedy in Syria continues, leaving millions at a standstill as foreign governments decide their destiny. This report was produced by Mary Ferreira for the United Nations.